ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're working on a mini bike that's probably 40 or 50 years old. Now, it's lost its original motor along the way, and it's been replaced with a little Predator motor. And when I got it, even the little Predator motor is all taken apart. But I think we can get it back together and get it running pretty easily. The frame is 100% factory and untouched along the way, but it looks like it lost its motor. So let's get a look at it. And for all you new people, don't forget to subscribe. It's free and we appreciate it. So as you can see, this is the epitome of what you would call a mini bike. It is just picture perfect. The fenders aren't dented up and they're steel fenders. And everything except the motor looks 100% untouched. But if you look at the motor a little closer, I got it like this with the rest of the pieces in a bucket. Okay, now we're going over the motor and seeing where everything's attached. So let's go ahead and pull the gas tank off. And all this is being done just because we can't get the linkage off the carburetor. Okay, with the gas tank out of the way, we should be able to get to our linkage a little more easily. Now I'll pull our linkage off and pull the carburetor. It's probably just as good. It's a metal gas tank, so it probably needs flushed anyway. Okay, are you ready to let go now? There you go. Okay, let's take her over to the bench and clean her up and see what we can do. See, now this carburetor really looks pretty nice. Doesn't look to be in bad shape at all, but it's for a toy. It's for a mini bike. It's not for a lawnmower, so it doesn't get in the dirt as much. Now, the first thing we'll do is pull the bowl off. At least we're going to try to. Okay, that's just a little bit stripped. It's like somebody's already taken a shot at it. But that's the hazards that you hit in this game when you're working on equipment that somebody else has already worked on. Yep, and she's a bit of a mess inside. So let's go ahead and run her through the ultrasonic and see if we can't save her. See, we got our jets in the side on this one. So pull it out and we'll run a wire through her before we put her in. There we go. And we've got no daylight at all through that jet. Let's pull out our handy floral wire. And it doesn't want to go through at all. This thing is clogged up to no end. Oh, there it goes. It finally found its way through. That was definitely the problem on this carburetor, but she's a little bit of a mess. So let's go ahead and run her through the ultrasonic, get her all cleaned up, and get her back together. Now, she's not quite up to temperature yet. We're going to put the bowl in. put the body in. We're going to put the jet inside this so it doesn't fall through. You don't want things laying on the bottom tray of your ultrasonic. It's bad for the machine. So you'll see these have got the little clips here, which is to carry the tray up off the bottom. Okay, we're only up to 42, but when it starts running, it'll heat up super fast. So we'll be back in half an hour. Okay, she's finished, so let's see what we've got. Don't want to stick my fingers in there because it's crazy hot. Okay, my little basket's in love with the carrier. Okay, we've got a little bit of daylight through the jet now. Carburetor looks really good. Even on the inside where it was all gummed up, it looks nice. So I'm going to blow her out with air real quick and run my wire through it. Let's go over here and do that. And the wire up the center, and she's running nice and free. Okay, that looks good. It's a really simple carburetor. So I'm pretty sure she's good to go. Just run our wire through the jet. And I expect it to run through a whole lot better than it did. Yeah, see, now it pokes right through. You know, I've got this wire. If you look closely, it's all kinked up all the way up. That way it bangs around the jet as I pull it through. As you can see, I've used this so much, I've just about wiped the green off of it. So let's put our jet back in, put our needle and float back together, and we should be good to go. I always say with a mower, it should start first pull. With this, I'll let it ride. I'll let it go to 2 pulls. Plus, we don't know how long it's been since this motor's run. Okay. You can see the needle's running with no interference at all. That means she's in good shape. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Getting ahead of myself. There we go. Yep, and everything looks to be in order. The inside of our bowl looks really nice now. It had a little bit of a corrosion on it, but that's all cleaned up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with everything. I like to double check. I'll put you right there. Grab our handy 10mm, tighten her down. And there we go. Okay. Put our little set screw back in. And that should be a ready to go carburetor. So let's put her back on and see if she works. I'm expecting good things. Okay, let's get this back together. First thing I'm going to do is throw the linkage on the carburetor while I've got it up here big in my hand. That makes it a little easier. There we go. That looks really good. I'll slip the carburetor on and slide the linkage underneath. And this is a lesson I learned while I was taking it apart. So now, I put this part back together. There we go. And that's that. And that's how she sits. And that should do it. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to do something that hasn't happened for a long time on this particular little toy. Whoop. We're going to put the airbox back together. Now this airbox was just, this airbox was just sort of hanging off the side of it when I got it. But she won't be for long. These nuts haven't found their way home for a long time, probably. And there's the second one. I tell you, when I saw this, I saw it all half taken apart and thought, oh no, that's not going to work. Let's go with one size. Let's jump to the infamous 3/8. That's not really the right size either. Spinning it on, but it's dancing on it because it wants a 10 millimeter. There you go. Okay, next in line is to get this linkage back on. And we just took that apart because there was no good way to get the linkage on the carburetor. Let's grab our little spring. As I recall, she went on the outside there and on the end here. And that little spring's Olympic. That's pretty tight. Okay, that looks pretty good. If you remember, this tank came on and off pretty easy. It's got 3 volts. They're pretty well hidden, but they're gettable. Now I'm going back and forth between a little Harbor Freight Predator motor and a good old-fashioned American mini bike. So I'm doing half of this with metric and half of this with imperial. There's one. Zero in place. Here's number 2. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, let's get number 3 on. Number 3 is well hidden inside. There's number 3. Number 4 completion. No, that was number 4. Actually, 10 millimeter. Okay, that gas tank's not going anywhere. So let's scoot back over here and run the fuel line and give her a test. See if she'll start. There's little cheapo clamps on it. See if this goes over or under. I think it goes under, but I could be wrong. We'll find out in a minute here. See, it's got the thin part there, which I think is intended to go underneath this linkage. The fun and games of picking up somebody else's project. You sort of figure out how things fit on the fly. But when I get one of these projects that somebody else gave up on, anyway, I was saying, when I get one of these projects somebody else gave up on, it kind of makes my day. Because if I can pull it off where they couldn't, it makes me smile a little bit. Let's ease our fuel line on, our fuel line clamp. There we go, perfect. That looks good. If this thing holds fuel and doesn't leak, we've got a mini bike. Let's hit her with a little starter fluid and see if she tries to kick. Yeah, she almost runs. I think we might have a problem with the linkage here. I think that's what's holding her down. I think the linkage is wide open. There you go. If I lean her this way, now you can see what we're doing. So what we're going to do, you see in there? Yeah, you can see in there. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust our governor right here. We're going to try to anyway, to try to get a better idle out of her. So I think the governor's holding her up. Let's take it this way to its logical end and tighten it. There we go. Now let's see if that makes a difference. Now I don't spend much time working on mini bikes, so we might have gone the wrong direction entirely, but we'll find out when we start it for sure. Okay, we're pretty close. Okay, I've done a couple of shakedowns on her, and she feels pretty good right now. I had to oil up the throttle because she was sticking, and of course they never stick slow. They always stick wide open. And we did a little adjustment here and there on the brakes, and she feels pretty good now. So let's take her for her first test drive. Okay, everything's on. Choke. Now, I couldn't even guess how old this bike is. Now, the motor is a 79cc from Harbor Freight. And when we got it, the carburetor was all torn apart and they couldn't figure out how to get the thing back together. Well, it looks like they couldn't figure out how to even get it apart correctly. But lucky enough, all the nuts and bolts we needed were in the little container he gave me. That doesn't happen very often. To this, yeah, the frame might be 50 years old. The motor's a little bit newer. This is definitely my new favorite toy. She runs just like a monster, and it didn't take much to get that carburetor cleaned up and back on the bike. So, for all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.